So hello there. Now, I have alluded to block patterns several times, but I've never actually shown you how to make one. So today I'm going to just do that and get that done so that I think you can pin it to the top of Facebook so that it's always there, so I don't have to keep sort of recapping these things and boring you to death. Now, I have a piece of A1 paper here, and I have a t-shirt, well, it's a nightshirt that I've used before, but I kind of like the fit of this shirt. It just fits right, so it's a good thing to start as a template. Now, there are three ways to do block patterns. One of them is you can find something you like and you can copy it. Another thing is you can get a pattern that you know well, a bought pattern, and then you can kind of cheat, which is okay, as long as it's for yourself, that's fine. Although I don't think you can use it for like this sort of purposes, so I can't really show you that. So all I've done is literally draw around the main body here. I've marked out where the neckline is, and I've marked out where the back of the shirt is. So this would work fine as long as I'm using a similar material to this shirt. Now, I'm not going to put that far away because I'm going to do the sleeves in a minute. Now, because not everything I make is a t-shirt, I have a blouse here as well. Now, this doesn't have any give in it, so it'll work quite well. Nom, nom, nom. Yes, folding, that's good. It's got loads of bits of fluff over it because it's been in here, and so it's not good. Now, as you can see that this blouse is fitted, so I'm going to have to mark those fitted bits on there so that I know and I can adjust the pattern accordingly. And I'm literally going to draw this over the top of the t-shirt, and it will all become clear soon. I'm going to use a different coloured pen so that I know what it means, and I'm going to also write in it what I'm doing, so that I can say that the blue pen is a fitted blouse. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to draw a line along the fitted part of the blouse so that I know that this has to have the give of the fitted blouse. And I'm also going to mark out the length because I know it's a comfortable length for me. Like the t-shirt comes down to just below my hips. It's quite a comfortable length for me. The blouse comes exactly on my hips, and it's a very smart look. So that's all very well, you know, that is all very well. But what happens when we want to make something that we don't have measurements for? So I'm just going to move the camera slightly. If it does switch off, then I'll switch it back on again, so bear with me. I don't want to give you vertigo or anything, but now this would be handy if you had a friend, but you know, you can do it yourself. I'm going to do it myself. So the measurements I need the length of the collar. Now, I am wearing a t-shirt at the moment, of course, and I can literally feel the seams under my fingers of where this is. So I've got not just a good idea because I can see it, but I've also got a good idea because I can feel it. So what I want to do is I want to take this measurement. Now, this would be an ideal measurement for a jacket. So what I'm going to do is, with another colour, I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to make use of the angles that are already on my paper because I know that they're correct for those. So I can use those angles. Now, the other important measurement we need is round the chest area. So what I'm going to do is take that measurement, and then I'm going to fold this in half, and then I'm going to fold this into a quarter, because these are quarters. And I'm going to line it up with the area that is supposed to be on this paper, so I can see that it would come to about here, because it literally is probably 2 inches above the armhole hole. And I'm only marking that with a star because, how polite are you not to notice, I think they call it carrying my weight at my front. So now I'm going to take a measurement of up to my armpits pretty much, but along my bra line, and that's going to be the measurement I'm going to use for my back. So I'm then going to take the tape measure, and I'm just going to fold it in half this time, and then I'm going to place it on the paper and see if it's close to halfway, because that would be the halfway mark that we did with the star. And then I'm going to take the tape measure again, and I'm going to measure from the same points but round the front, so that I've got the difference. Okay, so I hope that all made sense to you. And what I've got now is I've got 3 marks. Now they're in a similar position, but they're not in the same position. And I could do maybe a star, maybe a dotted line between them. Whatever, you know. Oh, I should tie my hair back for you, shouldn't I? Okay, so now what I'd like to know is I'd like to know how far I can literally carry the armhole sleeve insert thing down, because I don't want it too tight, but I don't want it too big either. So I know now it's got to be at least 11. Now I'm using a tape measure. You don't need to use a tape measure for this. In fact, it would be probably better for you not to use a tape measure, because you're not worrying about the numbers, you're actually worrying about the size and the differences. So next measurement is my waist, which is not that much different from my hips, but you don't need to know that. So I'm going to fold it in 4 again, and then I'm going to line it up with the paper of where my waist would be, and I'm going to make another mark, just so that I know that this is as small as you can go. And because this is a jacket rather than anything else, I still want to know my hips, so that if I do a longer fitted one, then I know I've got enough room. Okay, so I'm going in 4 again, and I'm making another mark. Now, some of you may have noticed that I do not use seam allowances at this point. Okay, as long as you're consistent, that's fine, because what we're actually saying is we're writing a block, and if we are going to do a pattern from it, and I'm going to use the serger, then I would be using a lot less material as a hem allowance than I would be if I was to do it on a sewing machine. So I can then translate that information either way. Okay, so that's the body, which is really simple. Now from that I can stipulate all sorts of things, so, and I will go to that in a minute. Alright, so let's start with the sleeves. So on a t-shirt, we know that this is the red line. I should have got pink pen, that would make life easy for me to explain. And I'm going to go back to using the red pen. And literally all I am doing is copying the sleeves. I'm going to make a mark between the 2 curves so that I can just follow that through, or I can attempt to fold it, to sort of fold it back on there. And then there we go, I have got my basic sleeve. can do the same again with the blouse. Now, if I line that up parallel, I can do the same again, and I can make sure that my angles are correct with my jacket, so that I can then sort of guesstimate my angles for the jacket, so if I do them all on top of each other, because all this I think is about consistency. If you want to draw your block patterns with a hem allowance, then do all your block patterns with a hem allowance. So okay, can you see that okay? So now I've drawn the sleeve, and I did want to mention the length on here because this 3/4 length is quite nice. Okay, so back with the tape measure. Now this is the one though you need a friend really. So from the top of the seam of the arm and follow it down to where you would like your sleeve to end. Now I like my sleeves just a little bit long, so I'm going to take it from about there. Lovely, and I'm going to mark the line on here, and I'm going to mark where I'm starting from as well, so I've got the top and the bottom of the sleeve. Now on a jacket you would expect the sleeves to be slightly larger because of, you may have a jumper on when you're wearing a jacket, so you would need it to be baggier, you know, so that you can fit more clothing through, where it's highly unlikely that you're going to be wearing a jumper underneath a t-shirt. You know, you might do. Okay, so string. Now this has got to be non-stretch, okay? Now basically what I am actually doing is I'm laying the string along the line, and I'm getting the length that I would need. Now I already took the measurement from the point of the top of the armhole to the bottom, so I can now see how I want to do that. So that's how much it's got to, distance it's got to cover, and this other bit is how much it has got to arc. Now I know from experience, and I'm sure you're the same, that these patterns are pretty much the same from every garment that you have and that you sew. So, you know, the basic shape is the same. Now with a t-shirt, your arm would come out at an angle, but with a jacket you would have your cloth over and above. So we do need that arc to be a bit more pronounced to take up the cloth. And there are a couple of easy cheats as well for that, so that you can get it right. Alright, so other than writing a code on there of what all this information means, I'm pretty much done there. But before I spend £18 a metre on a piece of cloth to make a jacket, I have, and do regularly, make a garment out of curtain lining. Now, I did actually iron this. This is how bad I am at ironing. So I have made one sleeve. Oh, you really need to come up again, don't you? There we go. So I have made one sleeve. I made use of it by practicing using paint on cloth and then washing it. The back panel is very important because you want it to be loose. And I made use of it, and I practiced pockets in there as well. So I now have the garment with the top of the sleeve, which I quite like, and it didn't need to be a length because we can do the length. We can't really guesstimate the sleeve. So I know that I've got enough room from this pattern to make this. So if I made this in a nicer material, then I would have it to wear. So that's all the information I think I need to convey. You will be seeing these, and I will pin them to the top of Facebook so that, you know, I don't just have to repeat myself. I don't want to waste your time by doing that. And thank you for watching. I hope you've learned something. Just to reiterate, I would say that if you're going to put a hem allowance on your block pattern, then that's great, but always put a hem allowance, or always don't put a hem allowance. This isn't probably the way you'll be taught. If you went to a college or anything, they'll probably have loads of scientific measures, but this is enough for me. There are tools, little like rulers, curved rulers that you can buy, and they will give you the right angles. And there is actually a formula as well that I've seen to work out the exact armhole reference. So another important thing to do is mark on here whose pattern it is and when it was taken, because if you sort of tidy your house and find a block pattern but it's from 13 years ago, you might be quite upset, or you might even try to use it and just be rather disappointed because you've grown a couple of foot. Okay, so yeah, thank you ever so much for watching.